Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here once again, as we do every second Monday of the month, to study the gospel according to Spiritism in English. So today, as Mackenzie mentioned last week, he wouldn't be here. So he put me in charge of doing the main talk. And so I'll also be doing introducing, starting with the prayer and leading the works of the night. So I'd like to start just by talking about how we usually we usually say that every time we have to be in the Spiritist Center, we have something to do here, right? We encounter many problems trying to force us, many things trying to force us and to stop us from being here and helping and learning and studying. And it wasn't any difference today for me. It was very challenging preparing the presentation and actually being here. A lot of personal things got in the way, but it also helped me understand the message of the night, which is very interesting. It got really thinking about everything that I was studying. So I'd like to start before we actually do our prayer, inviting everyone to actually look into our lives and everything that happens to us, surrounds us every day, and that we consider as bad, because it can actually teach us so much about the answers that we're trying to find in life. So, with that, I'm going to invite everyone to close our eyes so we can do our prayer and think of Jesus and try to visualize his face, his friendly face, smiling at us and telling us that everything is going to be okay, no matter what happens to us in our daily lives. And we thank Jesus once again for the opportunity of being here to learn and study, to grow spiritually, and so we can go ahead and practice everything that he taught us, he told us to be and to do. This is again another opportunity for us being reincarnated. It's an opportunity for us to grow, to learn, and to pay all of the debts, everything that we told ourselves that we would do, that we would get better. And Jesus and God is giving us the chance once again to fulfill everything that we promised. So we ask everyone to visualize once again Jesus and never forget his face. Never forget that he's here for us through everything. He's always giving us his helping hand every day of our lives. And we ask the spirits here present, the friendly spirits, to help us and guide us through this night, through the talk that Nancy is going to give, the reading of the gospel that I'm going to be giving as well. So be it. So I'm going to invite Nancy to come here and read a message from our daily bread.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are going to read a message from our daily bread. The number is 164, chapter 164, and the title is The Devil. I promise you guys, when I saw this title, I said, I don't want to do it. I will give to Lucas to do it. But I couldn't because he has to do the lecture, the tonight's lecture. So, yeah, I'm here. And it says, have I not chosen you, the 12? Yet one of you is a devil. This is in John 6:70. When theology refers to the devil, the believer immediately imagines a man of absolute evil, dominating in an endless hell. In the concept of the student, the evil region is located in a distant sphere, in the entrails of tormented darkness. Yes, the purgatorial zones are numerous and somber, terrible and painful, and according to the affirmation of Jesus himself, the devil formed part apostolic services, remained near the disciples, and one of them would be constituted into a representation of the infernal spirit of evil himself. Jesus said we must be aware that the term devil did not indicate in the concept of the master a perverse giant, powerful and eternal in space and time. He designates man as if he were chained to be clumsiness of the inferior sentiment. From that, we can conclude that each human being presents certain percentage of diabolical expression in the inferior part of his personality. Satan symbolizes then the force that is contrary to righteousness. When the individual discovers it in his own vast world, he understands the evil, combats it, avoids his intimate hell, and develops the divine qualities that elevate him to a superior spirituality. Great multitudes are submerged in secular desperation for not having been able to identify this truth. And commenting on this passage of the Apostle John, we are obliged to ponder if among the 12 apostles there was one that would convert into a devil, in spite of the divine mission of the circle that was destined to the transformation of the world, how many already exist in each group of ordinary men on earth? Guys, I will make just a brief comment. And when I read this message, I noticed that it's so easy when we can blame somebody else for something bad that we did. It's easy to say, well, is a diabolic things, is the devil, is the bad thing, is the hell, is, it's always easy to blame other like negative, powerful force. And I pretend that I am an angel. And it's so easy to blame whoever it is. And in this message, he says that even between the 12 apostles, one of them, I will not say he was a devil, but I should say he acted in a bad way. He chose a bad choice. And in the paragraph, it says we must be aware, we have to pay attention, that the term devil did not indicate the concept of the master. And he used the word a perverse giant. We always mention that it's a huge force. It is like giant and powerful, like this it says here. But what this message brings to us, that we have to take a look in our inner side, inside us, because unfortunately every single one we have our bad side. It depends who you try to feed, your good side or your bad side. That's what he's trying to show us on this message. And this sentence in here, I think it's, bring all the essence of this message. And it says, from that we can conclude that each human being presents certain percentage. So Emmanuel is being very nice with us and saying that we only have a small percentage of evil inside us. And he says certain percentage of diabolical expression in the inferior part of his personality. So this message came to invite us to try to be better and better and watch ourselves, our personality, our actions, and try to do our better. But in another hand, if he said that one of the 12 apostles, there was one of them that acted as a devil, it means that we are human beings and it can happen with us. So watch out. Thank you very much. And now our lovely Lucas.
Just like that, I'm back. Okay. Just waiting for the presentation to show on the screen so I can begin. But I guess I could start by making a comment about what Nancy just said here too. And I think, I'm not sure if he was a philosopher or I don't remember who, Nicolas Machiavelli. I don't know if he was a philosopher or it's just a thinker, but he said that all humans are bad, like by nature. And getting from what like Emmanuel said here, we all have a little bit of evil, and we need to watch out for our actions and what we do. So somehow he was right, right? We have God in us at the same time, so we can decide with free will as well to do whatever with our lives. So continue with the study of the night. We are going to be talking about the gospel according to Spiritism. We're studying the chapter 13, item 19, which is entitled Benefits Repaid with Ingratitude. And can you, where is it? This one? My first time doing it. So let me make sure I know how this works. If not, can you help me? Oh, ask over. So do I have to? I'm afraid of pressing things and that's just like messing everything up. Oh, there he goes. So to talk about ingratitude, I thought we should start by talking about the opposite of it, which is gratitude, right? And gratitude, from the dictionary, we get it that it's a feeling of appreciation or thankfulness in response to another person's kindness. So I want to stop there and just point out that in the dictionary, it says a response to another person's kindness, right? We're thinking about how the others see our acts, which is generally speaking, it's not right, right? And it also involves changing the way we see life. Being grateful involves the way we involves changing the way we see life. And why is that, right? So we often go on in life, and I think I talked about gratitude here not long ago. I don't remember if it was in Portuguese or English, but I talked about gratitude here. And once again, this comes up to me. And a lot of times, right, we walk around saying we are grateful. In Portuguese, and I gave this example, we often say gratidão, right? Which is seem like makes us seem cool, I guess. Or we just say thank you, obrigado in Portuguese, right? And a lot of times, if not most of the times, we say this because our parents, society told us that we should thank people. We should say this, right? So we are just repeating the word that we were taught as kids, right? We are being polite, right? So does it really involve changing the way we see life? Probably not. We just say thank you because that's what society expects of us, right? We come to the Spiritism Center, we go to a temple, right? And we say thank to God, right? Are we being thankful? Are we being grateful? Are we? Most of the time, we're just praying. Thank God for the opportunity of being here. It's part of a prayer. It's not an actual feeling that we have. So we are not changing the way we see life. So when you think about gratitude, we have to bring that to our attention, right? We have to try to change the way we see life, we see things. How do we do that? So we're going to talk about ingratitude, right? Which is the title of today's talk. So it's the opposite of gratitude and the state of not feeling or showing that you are grateful for something. So I'm going to bring everyone's attention to the little girl on the screen, right? She's surrounded by people, gifts, family members. She's receiving a lot, but yet she's thinking about something else, other things that she probably doesn't have or it's not getting as a gift, right? So she's being ungrateful for everything that's coming towards her, to her, that she's receiving. And now I ask you, everyone here, how often do we do that in our daily lives? We get so much from everywhere, but we are so focused on seeing the bad in things, the bad in life, that we cannot open ourselves. We don't allow ourselves to open up and see the good, everything that we're receiving, all the blessings that God is giving us every single day, right? If we think about kids, a baby reincarnating, right? When we were born, the first thing that happens is, can anyone tell me? We, as babies, we cry, right? That's our first way of complaining, right? Of something, right? We are hungry, we're scared, we don't know, right? But we are complaining. Then we get hungry, right? As babies, what do we do again? Cry, right? And we go on in life complaining, complaining, and complaining, not seeing the good that happens to us. As we grow older, we start complaining about different things, right? We learn how to communicate and we talk about that we complain in different ways. We complain to our family, our mother as teenagers, right? And I'm going to stop here real quick to give an example that came to mind. And I kind of felt guilty at like some time after, but I always remember a situation where my mom, I was probably 13, 14 years old, and my mom, yes, as a teenager, um, my mom, I lived by myself. She rented an apartment so I could study in a different city. So she arrived and she was very tired after work and everything. And I was hungry. I decided that I was hungry because my mom was there, probably, right? And she started offering me, as like mother would do, like many things. Do you want to eat this? Do you want to eat that? And I said no to every single thing she offered me. She was, do you want to eat a burger? Do you want to eat noodles? Do you want to eat like pasta? Do you want to eat pizza? And I said no to everything. And I cried like so much. I was being so ungrateful for everything that was coming my way, right? I was not seeing this that was happening. And my mom was there still loving me, right? Still doing everything for me, right? So as we grow up, right, as teenagers complain a lot. As adults, what do? We complain that we don't have enough money, that our house is not good enough, that we're not pretty enough. We complain about our bodies, our hair, about everything, right? So we go on being ungrateful for this other opportunity that God gave us to be here, present, reincarnated, and to keep growing spiritually, right? So, in the moment that we stop and think about being ungrateful and being grateful, we need to ask ourselves, when am I being grateful or ungrateful in life, right? And as Spiritism teaches us, we're the only one that can make the change in our lives. In our lives, we're responsible for everything that happens to us, the change and everything. We need to want we need to practice to make this change in our lives. And Spiritism teaches us very well that, and even in the Spirits book, there is a question that talks about, I think it's Saint, help me please in English, Sant Agostinho. Augustine, right? Yeah. So he teaches us how we can improve ourselves, right? So he teaches us that we should every day when we're laying down, we should ask ourselves, what we do good and bad, then question it to see how we can change. So by identifying everything that we were ungrateful for, everything that we did not do so well, we could then make the change the next day, right? We need to remind ourselves that being grateful or ungrateful, considering our present moment as spirits, it's still common. Do we need to accept it? No. Like I said in the beginning of the talk before the prayer, something happened to me today that brought me to think about all of this, right? There was a very specific situation that was talking to my sister, something happened to her. And then something came up that in my head, she was being ungrateful for something that I helped her. Why did I feel that way? Right. And that's why I was thinking, like, why did I feel that way? Right. That she was ungrateful. Why do I need people's recognition? Why do I need her to see that I did something for her? Right. We don't need it. Right. Because in this, we're going to move on and we're going to go into the question that Kardec asks the spirits. That happens because our selfishness is still bigger than our charity. Our sense of charity is still so small that we need others. We are so selfish that we need others to see ourselves for what we do, the good we do. So then we're going to move on. Then we're going to talk about what the question itself. Um, so it's not showing in the back. Oh, Fabricio, can you take a look, please? Is this correct over there? Not sure if you can see it. But anyways, it's fine. I'll just pick up from here. So the question is beneficent repaid by ingratitude, the title of today's talk. And Kardec asks the spirits the following question on this item. What should be thought of those who, on receiving ingratitude in payment, now you change everything. There he goes. Just leave it there. That's fine. What should be thought of those who, on receiving ingratitude in payments for benefits they have done, cease practicing good because they no longer get on with those who were ungrateful? So Kardec is here talking about those people that, and I know many of them, I was one of them. I just gave an example that it was not intentional, but it happened, right? I was like, my sister doesn't want my help. She doesn't listen to me. I'm going to stop helping her. And we do that so many times in our lives to friends, right? We think that people, like, we stop doing good to that person or others just because of one situation. We want to be recognized for everything we do, right? Because we're still selfish. And we still need that recognition. So Kardec asks the spirits what should be thought of those people. All right. And then the answer is very clear. There is far more selfishness in these people than charity, seeing that they do good only for the purpose of receiving demonstrations of acknowledgement and consequently do not do so disinterestedly. So, people who usually do this get upset with those that are ungrateful, let's put it like that, to them. They are selfish, as simple as that, because they're looking for recognition, right? And again, Spiritism teaches us that we have to start from ourselves to make the change, right? That we want to see. And in this case specifically, we need to stop looking for recognition for everything we do, because this is a virtual charity, is it one of the virtues, and we will only be able to achieve happiness if we start doing this, just doing the good without worrying about what others would think. Okay. And how do we do that? We just do it and go on with our lives. It is as simple as that when said. Right? In our day to day, we need to train ourselves to try to understand what is going on. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I need this recognition? Asking ourselves, and going back to my sister's situation, I wouldn't have realized that I was selfish or ungrateful, or I've had that feeling that she was ungrateful, if I hadn't questioned myself. So something bad happened, and I questioned myself. What should I learn from this? What is God trying to tell me here? Right? Because if we do that, we're actually going to be able to open up and see everything that is coming to us. Right? I'm sorry? Do not expect. Just do it. Like Nike says, right? Just do it. Yeah, so there's and continue here. The only act of goodness acceptable to God, is the one done with complete disinterest. But it's very hard to get there. I know it. We all know it, right? I see this every day in my life with family and friends that stop talking to one another because I did so much for them and this is what they do to me. And then they don't invite me to a party, right? After everything I've done for you, you don't call me anymore, right? We're so small as spirits if we think about it, right? Look how small we are that we still have to worry about everything that others are thinking. You're so preoccupied about the others that we forget to look at ourselves. We forget to look at what we feel and how we can change ourselves. The only true change that we can make is to ourselves. Just being repetitive here, but it is the truth. By making a change to ourselves, we change the way the others see us, we change the world. All right. Moving on. There is, of course, also pride in these people, since those who behave in this manner take pleasure in the humbleness shown by the receivers of the benefits when they come to lay before them the testimony of gratitude. There's also that case of people that will actually pretend they're humble, right? Because they want to hear someone thanking them. I'm so grateful for you, everything you've done for me, right? And you're like, oh, I feel like that a lot of times, right? There's always that person that comes in the middle of a group, right? We're all here together, let's pretend. And then one of us needs help with something. There's always that person, and I've been that person many times, that will come and just raise their hands. I can help you. And just say it out loud. just so everyone, the rest of the group, can recognize them. Very humble, right? Very humble. But what I always tell people and I tell myself is that we need to start somewhere. In this case, we're looking for recognition. But I truly believe that by doing good constantly, even if we are being selfish a lot of times, we'll get used to it. Repetition. Many of us here learned English by repeating and repeating phrases and words. That's how I learned English. That's how I used to teach English as well. And that's how I taught my students, like, just repeat, walk here from home, repeating everything you just learned in class. And then you learn it. You just memorize it. So if we do it out of interest, our own interest, just helping others, at some point it will become natural. At some point. But are we really trying to do this as well? No. A lot of times what happens is that we simply see that someone needs help in the same group. When we walk away, I need to go to the bathroom because I don't want to help. I'm too busy, I have a busy life. I can't stop to help you. I can't stop to talk to you, or I can't. Right? So, which one is right? The one that wants all the attention, or the one that's running to the bathroom so he doesn't want to help? Right? The right one, only we know if we are right or wrong. Because, as I mentioned before, gratitude and all of this comes from within each one of us. We need to change. We need to make the change. We need to stop and see how we are feeling, right? And not worry about what others are thinking. If I'm doing good and others think that I'm trying just to show off, that's their problem, right? Because what really matters is what I feel, not what they see, right? Again, God knows us, right? God will esteem all who do not seek their rewards here on earth. So God knows us. And we as spiritists know that our life won't stop here, it will continue. So, all of the benefits, everything that we do to people, they're good. That person may not see it, may be ungrateful, right? But we should not worry about it because God sees it. And we know that what matters is what our spiritual life. It's not what happens here, right? What happens here will prepare us for our life, our spiritual life, our real life. Continuing here. There we go. And then again, the spirits book, question 893. Kardec asks the spirits, which is the most meritorious of all the virtues? All virtues are meritorious, for all of them are signs of progress on upward roads. There is virtue in every act of voluntary resistance to the seductive influence of evil tendencies. But the sublimity of virtue consists in the sacrifice of self interest. The sacrifice of self interest, of not showing that you need recognition. We don't need recognition, right? And putting others also in front of us, ahead of us, to the good of others. The highest of all virtues is that which takes the form of the widest and most disinterested kindness. When we think about this, when we talk about this, we're talking about charity, being charitable to others, doing good to others, right? Not worrying about what is going others are thinking of us, right? Jesus says this so many times in the gospel, right? He calls our attention to this maybe 200 times in the gospel. I know it's very frequent because it's something we hear a lot. We're going to read it soon too. I had to bring it here because it's true, right? We need to sacrifice, learn how to sacrifice our ego for others because our ego doesn't take us anywhere. But again, as I say this, I always like to remind that we're still growing as spirits, right? We have a lot of knowledge already to know how to make decisions, but it doesn't mean that we're going to be right and make the right decision every single time. But when we don't, we need to be able to ask ourselves, and we are, what if I do differently? What if I change the way I do this? What if I change the way I see my friend who doesn't call me anymore? And I was so like, the person stayed at my house for so long and now doesn't want to talk to me. That's their problem. How I feel about the situation is my problem, right? So that's what we need to change. That's what we need to work on. The way we feel, we cannot change the others, right? Okay, moving on. So this is a story. I tried something I learned from Fabrizio. I went online and I used AI, artificial intelligence, to try to get a not only the image but also the story about Alden, the farmer. So um, Alden, the farmer, is a story created by the artificial intelligence. I changed it a little bit, so I'm gonna tell a little story here about Alden, the farmer who always did good in his kingdom where he lived and everything. So, as I said, he was always trying to help people, no matter who he encountered, the hungry, everyone. And then one day, there was a really cold winter. Many people lost their houses. There was a storm. People lost their houses. And Alden, in his farm, he started to bring everyone, including the little animals, to his house, to his farm. Well, he has food, he had food supplies, he had everything, water and everything. So he brought everyone over. He helped everyone. Okay, to a point that the king of that kingdom came over to him after things settled. They came over to him and said, I want to give you an honor. I want you to work with me. I want you to live in my palace with me. You're so kind to everyone. And he refused it. He refused it. He was like, no, 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 I'd like to stay in my farm, living the way I live, humble, helping others the same way. I don't need the palace to help people. That's the message, right? Okay, so he went back to the farm, and then there was this lady who liked to gossip. And because he didn't accept to live in the palace, she went out telling people that he was actually taking advantage of the situation. He was just stealing supplies, getting things from the king, and then using that to his own benefit and pretend that he was helping people when he was actually just using other people's supplies to help. So my first question is here, does it really matter? He's helping, right? He's helping. He's not keeping it to himself. He's helping others. But what happens here was that people started believing this lady, right? They started believing the lady, the gossip, and they like left him aside. So he had no more value in that society, in the kingdom. He was just put aside. He was sad, of course, the way people were ungrateful to all the kindness that he did. And another winter came. And who was there again to help them? Alden. Alden was there again, helping everyone through a very, very harsh winter. And then little by little, people started recognizing and really learning, seeing him for what he is. So the message here is that Alden, although he was sad, which is normal for us to get upset when someone is ungrateful, he never stopped helping, right? And then if we go back to Kardac's question, What should be thought of those who are receiving ingratitude in payment for benefits they have done? Cease practicing good because they no longer get on with those who were ungrateful. He didn't stop. He just included himself. He left himself away, gave himself some time, but he, whenever they needed him, he was there to help again. So he didn't cease practicing good because what others were telling or thinking about him. He knew himself. He knew what he had to do for his own good, for his own benefit. That made him feel good, right? And that's what the message that we need to take with us today. No matter what happens, we need to be in peace with ourselves. That's what matters, right? So again, Alden is a little story created by artificial intelligence that I changed it a little bit, but it shows us, it aligns really well with the message that Kardec, what Kardec is asking the spirits here, that we should never stop, we should never cease and stop doing good, no matter what others think, or if you're ungrateful or not. We should worry about ourselves. As we do that, we stop being selfish. And then, just to wrap things up, as I said, I was going to bring something from our big brother, big friend, Jesus, here that tells, this is in Matthew chapter 20, 25, 40. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of those brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me. So here is again Jesus teaching us that when we do good to others, we are doing good to God, right? As we all know, Jesus represents God here on earth for us, at least, right? And everything we do for our brothers and sisters, for those in need, we are doing it for Jesus. We are doing it for the good of our planet, right? And by doing that, we do good to ourselves. So, with this message, I invite everyone to stop and look around and think about what is the good that we are doing to others. And if something happens to us that we are unhappy or unsure, or it seems a trouble, a problem, that we are able to stop, and I really hope we're able to stop and question ourselves, what is God wanting me to do in this moment? What can I learn from that? What good can I take from it? Instead of crying and complaining about everything in life, being ungrateful with God, right? If we think about it, we are being ungrateful to everything God gives us. All of the opportunities that God, like that comes to us, we usually can't see it as good. We only focus in the bad. That's a habit. Like I said, we complain as kids, as adolescents, teenagers, and then we grow up and we keep doing this. But we are spirits looking to grow towards Jesus, towards God. And as a spiritist, we have the obligation, because we now know a lot more than we did a couple of minutes ago. We have the obligation to do better. So, so this is the message from today. Thank everyone for your patience, and I'm going to bring Nancy over to do our final prayer, so we can continue with the passes. Yes, yes, yes. And see, we do the final prayer, then we'll move on to the passes. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lucas. It was very nice, the study you brought to us. And as usually we do, we start with a prayer and we finish with a prayer. So if you feel comfortable closing your eyes or whatever you feel comfortable. And we will start our Prayer to close the meeting. We pray for joy in our hearts, hope in our God, love and forgive, and peace upon the earth. We ask for the salvation of all our family members and friends, and we pray for your blessings on all people. May there be bread for the hungry, love for the abandoned, healing for the sick, protection for our children and elderly, and wisdom for our youth. We know one day every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that you are the Lord. We pray for the forgiveness of all and abundant life in Christ. And we also know that peace on earth can only come when hearts find peace with you. To radiate the light of Christ every day, in every way, in all that we do and in all that we say. Almighty God, fill our hearts with your love and power. We also ask this meeting would end in happiness. Bless us now and forever. So be it. Thank you. Guys, next we will have our passes. Somebody will come and ask you if you wanna do the passes or not. It's not a mandatory. Thank you.